Welcome to Fertility Village. This is your weekly live talk show where community and support come together. With rotating hosts, expert guests, and meaningful conversations, we're here to guide you through the highs and the lows of infertility. Whether you're searching for answers, seeking advice, or just looking for a special place to belong, Fertility Village is your space to connect, learn, and grow. Because it really does take a village, and we are here for you every step of the way. Thanks for joining. Welcome to another episode of Fertility Village Live. I'm Marissa and I'm here with my amazing co-host Joy tonight. We're going to talk about something that could make a real difference in how we navigate the fertility journey, mindfulness and movement.
Yes, this journey can be so overwhelming in many ways, and finding ways to support both our bodies and minds can be a game changer. We're thrilled to have a special guest with us tonight who's going to help us explore just that.
So joining us tonight is one of my very good friends, Bianca, founder of MyFertilityJourney. She has a podcast. There's so much going on. She's a fertility advocate, a Pilates instructor, a mindfulness coach. She uses movement and meditation to support people through infertility. She's also been through her own infertility journey, which has deeply shaped her work. Bianca, welcome. Thank you for being here. We are so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'd love for you to start by sharing a little bit about your own fertility journey. What led you to mindfulness and movement, and how did it impact your experience?
Yes, of course. Well, firstly, thank you. I am so honored to be here and I'm so happy to chat with both of you today. Yes, I will tell you a bit about my journey with movement first, and then a bit about my fertility journey and how that shaped what I do today with fertility patients. So I'm a ballerina at heart. So I did ballet my whole life. I am originally from Brazil. So I grew up there. I'm one of those classic ones that went to ballet at 4, and that's what I did. I went to dance university. I became a dance teacher. And when I moved to Canada, that's when I did my Pilates training. So I became a Pilates instructor. I moved to Toronto in 2006. I did my whole training here in Toronto. I became a Pilates instructor and a Pilates trainer. So I teach not just clients, but also the training courses for people that want to become Pilates instructors. So I kind of left my dance career behind me to pursue this career in Pilates. It was perfect. I love to teach. That's really what I love to do, is to teach, and teaching movement is a huge passion of mine. Creating better quality of life, creating better posture, better breathing patterns, all of that is part, yes, as we sit a little bit taller on our butts. Not at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. we're all like this, aren't we? Yes. So all of that just became such a huge part of what I teach and what I try to bring for my clients. And then my fertility journey. Are we ready for that?
Ready. We're ready.
Yes. So I always say my fertility journey has 2 parts, or 2 legs. The first leg of that journey was very, very challenging because I didn't have a lot of the tools that I learned halfway and was able to apply towards like the second part of my journey. And that's what I try to share and try to apply in the sessions that I do with fertility patients, because I find it so important. And it took me so long to find these tools, and there was so much suffering in that first leg of my journey. So me and my husband started trying back in 2013. And we took a little while trying to get a spontaneous pregnancy. That didn't happen. I went to the family doctor, the classic story. And then eventually she sent me to my first fertility clinic. There we did all the first base of tests and blood work, all of that, ultrasound, sperm analysis, everything came back normal. And we tried 2 IUIs. And after that didn't work, a second doctor asked for an AMH, which came back extremely low. So that became my diagnosis. The low AMH, the fact that I was labeled infertile and natural or spontaneous pregnancy would never happen to me. So that just brought me to a very low, dark place. I ended up in the second clinic where I did my funded IVF cycle that we have here in Ontario. Very grateful for that, because at the time we were completely lost financially on how we would be covering IVF costs. And we were approved, or we were called right after they approved the funded IVF. And I think it happened end of 2016, if I'm not mistaken. So into 2016 to 17 is when we did our IVF cycle that unfortunately failed. All the 3 embryos that we had, we transferred all of them and it didn't work. That was my lowest of lows at that point. So I felt like my body, that was supposed to easily get pregnant, as they teach us in school and our whole life. And I avoided pregnancy throughout my whole since I became sexually active until the moment we decided we wanted to have a baby. I was using birth control and so scared of getting pregnant so easily. And now my body wasn't doing that very basic thing. So, the feelings that you're broken, the feelings that you're not meant for this, the feelings that this should be so easy. And for some reason, my body, as if I was the only one going through it in the world, right? I'm the only one that cannot make a baby. So all of that was very, very challenging. And then we had to take a break, which was a little bit forced because, again, financially. So we exhausted our finances. And even with the funded cycle, we still had about $8,000 of debt just on medication. So we took a step back. We decided to just live our life a little bit, continued to do to try spontaneously. Obviously, you never lose that hope and that, that sense of what, maybe it's going to be me. I'm going to be that miracle story. But unfortunately, never happened. But this was the middle of my journey. This is where, I don't know what it was, but something in me just told me I'm just tired of being sad. Yeah. I remember telling my closest people, I'm like, I cannot be so sad anymore. I am so tired of just feeling like this all the time. And it's very challenging when you have a job where you have to present yourself in front of people every single day, the whole day. And people are you to feel good, like people that maybe have aches and pains and they have things to work on. They're recovering from an injury and they're coming to do Pilates, and I have to put a smile on my face and pretend that everything's okay. And that is so heavy. And it really, really weighed me down. So tell me if I'm talking too much.
No. Please share. This is so insightful and so powerful. Please continue.
So I don't remember what clicked exactly, but I said, I told myself, there's something missing. I'm doing all of the physical things, right? I'm checking my blood work, and we have this low AMH thing that was hanging like a dark cloud over my head, and this label of just infertility and being infertile. And I didn't have a connection to my body. I didn't have a spiritual connection, whatever that means. I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in energy, and I believe in something else, besides what we can just see and touch. So I'm like, maybe that's a part that I can go after. And it doesn't, I did not think that that was the missing part to get me pregnant, but that was the missing part to like bring me back to myself and for me to feel like I could live my life no matter what. Because once you get into the community, once you get into the IVF treatment, remembering that I didn't have social media at the time, like 2013. I don't know. Marissa's a social media guru. Joy, I don't know you very well, but I was using Instagram to like post pictures for my family. It's like
That's
It
why that's
definitely
how I use
wasn't.
Insta.
It definitely wasn't what it is now. It's very, very different.
yes, and there were support groups. My first clinic did have like a support therapy group with a counselor, a therapist, and I went to that and it was helpful. I did some private sessions of therapy as well. But it wasn't like the amount of knowledge, the amount of support, like even this platform, like us sitting here today and sharing all of this, it wasn't readily available and so mainstream. So anyways, I had to feel in a way, I felt like I needed to feel like I was going to be okay. So, just going back to my point from before, once you get into this world that I was getting into at this part of my journey, you realize how there's just so much to fertility. And there is so many different journeys, and there are so many people out there that don't get their dream baby. So it was just sinking into me like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because when you start, like you start trying, you think it's going to happen next month because it's so easy, right? And then it doesn't. And then you start IUI, you're like, oh, this is a great chance. Because they're pumping that sperm right up. Like, this is gonna happen. And then it doesn't. And then you go into IVF and you're like, this is magic in a science lab. There's no way this is gonna fail. Like, you're literally getting this part and this part, and it's growing, and you're putting it inside me when it's already grown. Like, how is this not going to work? So, and then you realize that it doesn't a lot of the times. And I felt like I needed to be in a place where I felt I was going to be okay, no matter what. And I can't say that I got there 100% or that I felt like I was totally fine every minute of every day of my life. On the second leg of the journey, but I definitely did find myself again. And I definitely was finding like little pockets of joy in my days and wasn't feeling like I was holding, like choking up a cry the whole day and feeling like literally my life would end if we got to the end of this without a baby. So the things that I found in the tools and the people and the community, the strategies, the visualizations, some of the movement to release, the breath work, all of that really helped support me through the IVF that we did before, we did later. So we took that break after our failed funded cycle, and in 2019, I went back and I did batching of embryos at yet another clinic. So this was our third clinic at a different doctor, a doctor that was highly specialized in my profile as a patient. So slightly older, because anything above 35, I was 37, I believe. 37 and turned 38 as I was doing all of this. And then, so we batched embryos and did immensely well. And I remember, I'll never forget, and pardon if I get a bit emotional, but I'll never forget when I got the call from our PGTA testing, because we did batching, we sent them all for testing, and we had 15 embryos. It was out of the 3, right? Which was already great, although I know that a lot of people have more. A lot of people have much less. But we managed to get 15, and then 12 of them came back normal. And I remember I'll never forget, I never remember exactly where we were, and me and my husband and the doctor on the speakerphone. And I remember he said, "This is a miracle. Like, I rarely see this type of result." And in my mind, I was crying as I couldn't believe it. But in my mind, I'm like, I worked so hard for this, you know? So, not to say like everyone works really hard, but some things are not miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of work that patients put into this, and it's emotional work, and it's financial. It's like, so it's the relationship work that you need to have between you and your partner, if there is a partner, or your family and your support team, and even your job. Like, there's just the diet, the supplements, it's so much. Are you drinking enough water? Are you
It's
doing?
a full-time job.
It's a full-time job on top of your job that you can't quit, because otherwise you don't have the financial means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane, and it's a lot. But it felt really rewarding to be in a position that all that hard work paid off, and I felt like in my mind and my body I was so much healthier,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, I don't know. I find that it's such despair that we feel in this journey. And if I can share a little bit about my story, if someone asks, like, I'm not super active on my Instagram in terms of posting, but I'm on DMs all the time, because I don't measure like time and knowledge and information I can share with people. Because if people can get out of their despair sooner than I did, I feel like, if I can help one person suffer a little bit less emotionally and in their body and in their life in general, like feeling like they fit in and they can live a little during the journey, even though it's so freaking hard, then I feel like I did good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And do you want to tell us a little bit about how your journey is currently going, or what ended up happening to those embryos, if you want to share a little bit?
Yes. So after we finished that in 2020, so of course the pandemic hit, so that delayed a little bit. We finished our batching through the pandemic in a longer timeline than we expected, of course, because we didn't know all of that was going to happen.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Surprise, surprise. It was okay. Like, once we batched the embryos, we were very, very happy, of course. And then we did 3 transfers, and the third one resulted in our son. So 3.5-year-old little Benny now. That is just the light of my life. So I'm just so grateful that I had that, because I know that it could have been very different. Even with the amount of embryos, like, you just never know what's going to happen.
It's not a guarantee.
It's nothing is, and that's such a harsh realization as well when you do realize it, because most of us go into IVF thinking that it is a guarantee at some point. Maybe it's going to take a while, maybe I'm going to spend a lot of money, maybe this, maybe that, but we feel like there is a guarantee there. That is not. But yes, we were like so blessed for it to have worked at that clinic so well. And we have our little embryos frozen, hopefully waiting for a possible second pregnancy. But I'll just tell my current situation really quickly. It's a little bit tricky at the moment because I'm still going through it, but very, very unexpectedly, we got pregnant spontaneously, and I became that person that people tell the story about and we all hate. Like, oh, I know so and so that after they had a baby, they just popped one baby after another because it got so easy. And I'm like, what is happening? I was so confused, but obviously happy. And then we had, unfortunately, a genetic issue with the baby, and we terminated the pregnancy. And that's just another layer of grief. And I'm not going to swear. I'm a swearer. It's another layer of bad feelings and confusion and just distrust again in the universe and my body, and like what is happening, like why is this going on. But it happened, and we're plowing forward. I still haven't healed, unfortunately, from that loss. So right now I am going through surgeries to make sure that my uterus heals properly and hopefully be in good enough shape for an embryo transfer again. So that's where I'm at right now.
We're crossing all our fingers and toes and everything we have for you. Thank you for sharing, because we know it's not easy to retell and recount and rehash stories and feelings and everything you have. Because I always say, like, people with infertility have luggages. We carry our luggage with us, and it's invisible to people around us, but we feel it and we know it's there. And when we have to open our luggage and retell and bring everything out, it's a lot, right, to do over and over again. So we appreciate you. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to pass it over to Joy, because I think it's you mentioned something while you were talking about feeling like disappointed in your body, disconnected for your body. So Joy, I'm going to pass it on to you.
Bianca, everything you said resonated so much with me. I actually also have a low AMH diagnosis. I'm in my 40s, and I don't know if it's going to work out for me. And the thing you said about feeling disconnected from your body, I think so many of us feel this way, because oftentimes we go into the clinic, our bodies are not doing what we want them to do. Sometimes they're unpredictable. And it's been the hardest part of at least my journey, is dealing with that disconnect, dealing with the unpredictability of it. And what I wanted to ask you is, did mindfulness and movement help you rebuild the connection that you have with your body?
It definitely did. Thank you for sharing too. And I'm really sorry that you're going through this. It's not easy. It definitely did. I think that because I was a movement professional and I had the relationship, I guess, with movement and being so in tune with my body my whole life, I feel like what actually helped me the most were the visualizations and the meditation aspect of it. Lying down on the mat and working out, ironically for me, was nearly impossible. Like I would lie down on the mat and then just fall apart and cry. And again, I don't know if this happens to everyone. Let us know if you're listening. If that happens to you, if you're maybe not a movement professional, but I don't know if it's just that relationship that I have with my body and being a dancer and all of that, but it would just break me and I could not do anything. So I stopped working out. So the meditation where I would just sit and then connect with my breath was really what brought me back. And then I was able to restore that. So I teach, like when I do things with with fertility patients as my clients, I focus first on the breath. So the breath work, because again, moving your body can be really challenging for a lot of us. So I kind of use that as a window into bringing, so that it is mindfulness, right? To focus on the breath, to like stop and only get your mind to focus on one thing, which I didn't do because that's so challenging, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're not going through something hard in your life, like we have like 1,000 thoughts in our mind a mile a minute. So like slowing that down, learning how to focus on your breath, learning how to have a good breath pattern is important as well. So I already had that knowledge, so I learned how to apply it and how to get a lot of those thoughts, Joy, that you were describing as well, that we have at the clinic and whatnot. And we can do some things later in the session to that are very, very simple and that you can apply right away. I was at the doctor yesterday, to take a balloon stent out of my uterus, a balloon that was inside my uterus for a week. Isn't that fun?
That's so comfortable. I love those things.
So I was there yesterday, and I still have to do my breath, and the doctors, I find, for the most part, are so sensitive and nice, and they're like, okay, so the speculum's going in, and I'm like, relax your jaw, Bianca, and breathe and relax your belly, so we can talk about this and like different strategies to help you. And I felt that all together, the visualizations, the meditation, and then bringing back movement into my life, helped a lot.
So let me ask you a question, because I think a lot of people think, ooh, mindfulness, it's just meditation, it's woo-woo, right? It's like, what is mindfulness? Like, I think I'm clear, like, what is mindfulness? So for people who might not be familiar, people that don't really know what mindfulness actually is, because you can go on TikTok or on Instagram and see many things about what mindfulness actually is. Explain to us, like, what is mindfulness really, and why could somebody find it helpful during fertility treatments or during waiting in the doctor's waiting room while you're anxious and about to go for a procedure, or about to get an answer for a test, or waiting for results? Tell us.
Absolutely. So I'm just going to say what mindfulness means for me.
Okay.
Not going to give like a dictionary explanation, because I think mindfulness can be so many different things for different people, and yes, it can become woo woo if you want to, but really what happens is we have a brain that has a lot of thoughts, right? So that's mind. And then if you believe in the spiritual world, or you have that in your life, then you have a soul, right? Yeah. But we don't even need to touch on that. And then you have your physical body. So you have your mind and you have your physical body, and then you have some sort of energy that surrounds that, and you have a connection. So if you want to think about something like very, very clear, so if I'm thirsty and I'm going to go down to grab my water bottle, there's going to have a series of different connections that need to happen for me to go down this way, reach my arm, flex my elbow, pull this, open this cap, and drink that water. And I'm not thinking about it. I'm not thinking drop this shoulder, curl this way, do a bicep curl, and I'm just doing it. And my brain and my muscles are communicating. So just physically, for us to do our daily activities and think like a reflex, someone throws a ball at your face, like you're just going to do that. You're not thinking about it, because if you think it's going to be too long, that ball is just hitting you in the nose, right?
Yeah.
So there's a constant connection between our brain and our bodies. And what we're doing with mindfulness is just being a little bit more aware. So our brain can think really one thought at a time. So
instead of a million different anxious thoughts.
I know, but yeah. But you have a million thoughts, but it's one at a time.
Okay.
If you pause for a second, you have just one thought, right? It can be like, oh, I only have 30 minutes to tell my story. And then, then I'm gonna drive on it's icy outside because of course we had an ice storm in first week of April in Toronto. And then is my kid gonna be asleep? What am I gonna do? Am I gonna be quiet when but it's a series of thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? Each second you have one thought. So if we can start cleaning that noise out, instead of having the and create a little bit more awareness. So mindfulness for me is also creating awareness. So I'm aware of all of these thoughts. How many minutes? What did Marissa just ask me? And Joy might ask me something later, and then I'm going to drive, and then this, and then that. But at the time that I create mindfulness, I try to clear out that noise. Does it matter that I only now have 28 minutes for us to chat? It doesn't, right? What matters is really what I'm sharing right now. Does it matter how the roads are right now? No, it doesn't. Do I need to have all of these thoughts nagging me? No, I don't. So it's really, to me, it's really simple. It's creating awareness. How can I say this? Decreasing judgment, if that makes sense, right? Because here I'm like, oh my God, am I talking too much? I only have 28 minutes. Are people bored of my story? I don't know. I need to share like a golden nugget before we finish. Like there's so much judgment as well. So getting rid of that. And then just understanding what is true and what is not in our mind is also for me creating mindfulness. So again, the thoughts that are not true. My body is not broken. I am not the only one going through this.
Yep.
It's not that everyone is perfect except me. It's not that I'm not good enough to be a mother or a parent. So there's all of these thoughts. So creating mindfulness as well is just like clearing out and then understanding what it is that you're thinking that could affect your body, because we know that nowadays from research. Again, it's not woo-woo. What is in our mind, it lingers down into our physical body. So like it feels so much lighter when you have a little bit less weight in your mind as well. So hopefully that makes sense a little bit about like how I approach mindfulness.
No, and that's a great way to explain it. Just because I think a lot of people think it is one way. And you're right, like it could mean, mindfulness can mean many different things for many different people. But that's a good way to look at it. It's just quieting down what you have here so you can focus on what really matters in that moment, and not be all jumbled, because as we know, just life in general is very complicated, stressful, busy, and then you add something like infertility to the mix, and oh my God, like how can you be present in that moment at any time after that, right? So yeah, definitely appreciate how you explained it.
So movement is another key piece that many don't think about during this journey. Can you share why gentle movement is beneficial and what types are best depending on where someone is in their cycle or treatment?
Yes, absolutely. So firstly, disclaimer, obviously, like I'm not a medical professional, and I am a movement professional. But of course, the science of fertility treatment and what people are going through during an IVF cycle, for example, with the stimulation of the ovaries and getting a lot of eggs and follicles, and then of course the procedures of egg retrieval and the procedure of a transfer, all of that is like, I understand the science, but of course I'm not in that world scientifically. So that's a disclaimer. And then the other disclaimer is everyone is different. So you have to see what you feel works for you. And you have to, if you feel like going after a movement professional to help you during this journey, to make sure that you feel safe in movement, that you find someone that you trust, yeah, that gels with you. Because it's like every profession, right? A doctor, a dentist, a massage therapist. We all have been to someone that a friend recommended, and they're like, not the best massage I've ever had, right? So, approach this with caution, because it is a very delicate part of someone's life, right? And this journey. So if we were to be like very specific, I would love to share a couple of things. There's one big one. Let me just think so I don't jumble myself. I'll share at least two big things. The first one is that it is a myth that you should not move while in fertility treatment. So we first just need to burst that bubble, because it's not true. But there are some things that you need to be caution about. Okay, so what happens in exercise is that your body is going through stress. Yeah. So we'll have like the joy hormone, and then we'll have the stress hormone in our bodies. And exercise does release serotonin, which is more of a joy hormone. And that's why most of us feel good when we exercise. Sometimes it takes a while to get there, but we feel good after we move, right? So it does release that. But also it does raise your cortisol levels, depending on what you're doing for your level of fitness. So we have to be mindful of that. So it's like, oh, I need to be healthy. I've never run before, and now I'm going to start running, like training for a half marathon. Particularly, I wouldn't recommend that, because your body is not used to that. And now that you need to be in a more like calmer type state with your body, with your mind and your physical body, you're not going to throw yourself into a half marathon. Now, if you're a marathon runner and you're like, you know what, the only thing that releases my mind and gives me mindfulness is to run 10K. Like, go run 10K. 100%. You know what I mean? Like, check in with your doctor, depending again on where you are in your treatment. They might not recommend that. I am not a marathon runner. I don't specialize in cardio training, so I wouldn't say that for a specific person. But I hope that you understand where I'm coming from.
Yes.
Like, you have to do what your body feels good, what you're used to as well. Yeah, and take it all with a grain of salt. If you feel like I'm pushing it too hard, I'm feeling too stressed out, my cycle got a bit messed up, because our cycles are very sensitive to changes that we do on our day-to-day life. So assess that. So I think that those are two important things. One more that I'll share. This one is very, very, very specific. So there's a lot of, I think now it's changing a bit, where doctors and whatnot are okay with gentle movement during all parts of treatment. But when you are stimulating, so when you're doing IVF and you're on hormones to stimulate your ovaries, especially if you have, let's say, PCOS that creates a lot more follicles than the average person. But even if you don't, we grow a few follicles and we mature one egg. That's our natural state, right? Then to even have 4, 5, 6 eggs, the maximum I've ever had was 6. That was like huge number for me. That's still 6 times more than what you normally do. So your ovaries are like, they're swollen. There's a lot more follicles there. It's taking more space. It's pushing on things inside of your abdomen, right? So what they say is that the biggest thing is for you not to do twists. So don't rotate your spine, because that rotation, everything is so tight in the body, right? Your organs are so well fitted together. Yeah. So with that rotation, what the doctors are scared about is that compression of you twisting your ovaries that are so overstimulated. So that's one thing. So if you're used to doing a workout, and like even if it's a high level, like stronger workout, personally, I would tone it down a bit. But again, do what you feel fits you, but don't twist. So whenever you are on stims, do not do any rotation. Yep. And then on the 2-week wait, so after the transfer, the best thing that's recommended is walking. So going for walks, because circulation's so important.
Yeah.
So yeah, because the bed rest and all that stuff is unfortunately or fortunately outdated. In some cases, it might be necessary.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So again, follow whatever your doctor says. But also, if you feel like maybe my doctor is not up to date with the latest information, chat around with different professionals, and they're online, there's so much information. Educate yourself and see what you feel comfortable with doing. But the level of activity and being mindful of that for your own body, and the twisting, and then maintaining the circulation after embryo transfer, I think for movement specifically is what I would have to share today.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I know definitely like a lot of people are very hesitant to move their bodies during any kind of treatment because they're afraid of like messing something up. I have PCOS, so I was always told, do not twist. I'm a person, and this is probably terrible, so plug your ears. I like to crack my back like this. Oh, it feels so good. But I can't do that while I'm going through stims because they said your ovaries, you can have contortion, ovarian contortion, and you definitely don't want that. So yeah, that was one thing that I was told not to do, but walking, like light walking, was always encouraged because of blood flow to your body. So that's really cool. Okay, so moving on to something else. In a few minutes, we're going to get ready. Bianca is going to lead us through some mindfulness and movements, a little bit of a meditation, and we're really excited about that. But I do have to ask you, because you are a wealth of knowledge and you're just, the way you speak is so calming, and I feel like you bring so much peace to people when you speak. And so you've been on this path personally. You support others through it now. So give the people some advice, give them something to think about. What is something you wish you had known earlier in your fertility journey, or maybe before you started, something that could have helped you knowing what you know now?
It's a bit of a list, of course. And of course, it's very personal. But I think on the practical side is understanding a bit more about the AMH, for example. So if I had learned a little bit more about what the AMH is and how it pertains to the ability to get pregnant, I would hold it less as a dark cloud. So maybe joy for you, if that helps in any way, because it was my doom and gloom for so many years until I understood that a low AMH is not a good thing to have, and it doesn't up your chances, but it's also not it's not like the guillotine on your fertility. You know what I mean? That it makes some of the doctors makes it sound. That's how it was sounded to me, So I think whatever is happening to you, like trying to understand it a little bit more is beneficial. The mental aspect of it, so the mindset, which is again what mindfulness brings to the table, is help you switch your mindset a bit. So understanding what helps you feel more like yourself, what helps you enjoy more the things that you used to before you started this painful journey. And it can be something very different. Like I said, it can be someone like training for a marathon, which would be the end of my life because
You
I
don't
run.
want to run a marathon? Are you sure? How about a triathlon?
Yeah, exactly. So I will run to, if I miss the bus, if I see I'm gonna miss the bus, that's how much I run. But it's gonna be different for everyone. So for me, it was really understanding how my mind was working and how much it was keeping me in that dark place. And as much as we don't, here's one thing maybe that might be better in a nutshell. When we understanding what works for you, that will, trying to find the best words because mindset is so important, right? So understanding that the thoughts in your mind are not true, kind of what I talked about before, is really what made me feel like this is, I have control over this. That's the word I was looking for. So in this journey, we've slowly find out very, it's very sad that you don't have control over so many things that you thought you did, right? You're like, I'm gonna, whatever I'm gonna do in my life, and then I'm gonna be ready to have a baby, and then the baby comes or not, like 8 years later. So you think we have control, and then we slowly feel like it's like literally falling through your fingers. But there is a lot of things that we can control, and our mindset is one of them. And again, changing your mindset might not be the thing that makes you pregnant or brings home your baby, but it will make you live your life a lot better until it does, or until things need to change or come to a close in your journey.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very insightful information for people to take along their journey.
Yeah, that's great advice. But now we're going to do something really special. Bianca has prepared a short movement and meditation break for us. So if you're watching live, take a moment to join in. This is your chance to pause, reset, and reconnect.
Excellent.
Bianca,
You. Yes.
go.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me this space. And I truly, truly hope that this is going to be helpful for anyone out there. And feel free to reach out later and let me know how it went. And also, if there are any questions about anything that we did today or that we talked about. So we're going to do a few things. It's not going to be like a full session. So if you're watching this live, or if you're joining this after, and you're like, oh, I don't want to lie down on the mat and do a mini Pilates class, this is not at all what that is going to be. So you can do this whole thing from sitting. I'm going to do one of the things standing, but I'm also going to talk specifically about some different strategies that you can use. So you can do the little snips and different parts of it, and then you can apply that on your day-to-day life. Okay. So first what I'm going to do is a tapping set. Okay.
This is my favorite. I learned this from you and I love it.
Yes, it's so good. So Marissa and Joy are gonna do that sitting, and I'm gonna do it standing so you can see the whole body. Let me just move this out a little bit. I have to be mindful of the time because I do tend to talk a lot. So we're going to start with just spread the feet apart a little bit. The toes are pointing forward, and we're going to start with one arm reaching forward with the palm up. So I'm just going to do on a diagonal so you can see me better. We're going to start at the top of the shoulder, and we're just going to tap. I'm cupping my hand like this at the top of the shoulder, and then we're going to go down the arm. Hopefully this is not too loud.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good.
And then we're gonna clap. I love this part because you can really make it loud. Clap, 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 clap. and we're going to go on the top of the hand. So palm is down, and we go up the arm all the way to the shoulder, and now we turn the thumb up. So thumb up, and we go down again. So this is just, again, you're just focusing on what we're tapping. We go down on the pinky finger, and then up the arm. And then do a fist and go around the lymph nodes here under the arm. So this is very healthy as well to release the lymph nodes. And then we're going to stop on the chest. We're going to tap, tap, tap. Deep breath in. Open the mouth, exhale. And again, deep inhale. Open the mouth, exhale. And then we do the other side. So palm is up. And then we go down. You can do a little bit faster that second side. Make some noise. And then the top of the arm, top of the shoulder, turn the thumb up and go down. Tap the thumb a couple times, tap the pinky a couple times, and go down the arm again. And then the lymph nodes with a fist. And then the chest. Now remember here, the chest is very sensitive. We store so many emotions on our heart, right, area. So if this feels too emotional or too challenging right now, you can use fingertips. So like, be very gentle with yourself as well, okay? So then we're not gonna smack our chest, okay? We're gonna go to the side of the body, outside of the body, outside of the legs. You can still do this straight forward if you're sitting, all the way to the outside of your feet, and then inside of the feet, inside of the legs, inner thighs, and then go down the front of the thigh. Front of the thigh, skip your knee, don't smack your joints, okay? Skip the knee, go down your shins, the top of your foot. Go up your calves. This will be challenging if you're sitting, but you can skip over to your back. So hamstrings and your bum and your back. Go as high as you can. Your kidneys are up here, so they deserve a little bit of love as well. And then I just like to finish like this. Cross your arms and sweep it off. And we want to sweep. If you're doing this in the morning, it feels amazing because you want to get out that old stale energy and then just bring in the new stuff, the things that will serve you. Yeah, you can give yourself a little hug there. So this is great for anxiety. Marissa was saying before, you know, like after you learn this, even if you don't remember the exact same sequence, it doesn't matter. It just focuses on your body. As you're tapping, you're like, oh, this feels good, or this feels weird, or I don't know what I'm doing. Doesn't matter what you're thinking. Your mind is focused on that one thing, remember? And all that noise is just melting away. So next we're going to talk about the pelvic floor. So I just want to give something very tangible and very practical and applicable for everyone that's watching. One thing that is very challenging for women or female bodies going into this is all the appointments that we have, all the things that are really like the intravaginal ultrasounds, the speculum, all the things that are really going inside, like through our vulva, intravaginal, vaginal canal. So, and that can be very emotional and very challenging for a lot of people. So our pelvic floor has connections to our abdomen, so our abdominal muscles, our belly, tummy muscles, and onto our jaw. So we're going to do a few things to relax through the jaw, through the belly, and use our breath to try and relax the pelvic floor. If you're going through a lot of discomfort during intravaginal appointments, if you have trouble having like painful sex can be such a difficult thing going through infertility because it becomes such a nuisance really for a lot of us, right? And it can be very hurtful in the relationship. So if that's the case, these are things that you can do. And this just also, relaxing your pelvic floor is good for everyone. So it doesn't matter where you are on your journey. First thing we're going to do is massage your jaw. So looks a little strange, but you can definitely do this on the waiting room. So you're just going to slide your fingers and you're going to play a little piano down and up your jawline. And as you're doing that, it does look a little silly, but you're going to open and close your mouth. And then you're going to stay down and you're going to slide down your neck and just give a little bit massage down the top of your shoulders. So do that again from the top of the temples here, down your jawline, back onto the neck, down your shoulders. One last time, the front to the neck and the shoulders. So now we're going to breathe in and out through our nose. We're going to unclench our teeth, place the tip of our tongue where the roof of your mouth meet your teeth, your front teeth. So to make sure that we're not tightening our tongue inside our mouth, that will tighten our jaw that we just relaxed, okay? So unclench the teeth, keep on breathing, tip of the tongue where the roof of the mouth and teeth meet. Inhale and exhale, and now bring your hands onto your belly. So your lower abdominals there, and you're going to completely relax. Relax your tummy into your hands. This is another very challenging thing because as women and female bodies, we feel like we need to have a tight, flat tummy all the time, which is very unrealistic and very detrimental to our health. So because the more we tighten the core, the more we grip our pelvic floor. So which is not good. So relaxing the belly, keep on breathing. And then we're going to do a gentle hug. So we're going to take one hand around one rib cage. The other one is just going to drape across the other side. Yeah, kind of as if you were going to like rock yourself to sleep. Just giving yourself a little love. And then with that easy breathing, with the jaw relaxed, with the belly relaxed, that relaxes your pelvic floor, we're just going to do little circles. So very, very gentle. And relax your head. You can look in between your legs and you can look a little bit up, but it's very small. So all we're doing, you can keep the arms as they are, is we're releasing through the ribs. That helps release your diaphragm. That helps you breathe better. And now reverse the arm, so you can drape the other arm over and then reverse the circle. If you can remember the direction you were doing before. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's okay. Anything we do today is fine. So we do a little bit on each direction and then release. So this is going to be our little homework, yes? Whoever's going into an appointment. We're going to relax the jaw. We're going to relax the belly. We're going to relax the tongue. We're going to maybe massage, if that makes sense, wherever you are. Maybe not, and then we're going to focus on our breath and just let the pelvic floor release. Yeah, so then when you get the ultrasound, the speculum, whatever it is that you need, if you need lubrication, like natural lubrication, that will all flow a lot better. Yes, so hopefully that helps. I had a little bit more planned, but I think we're running out of time. Do we have time for one more thing? No.
Quickly, 2 minutes?
2 minutes? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do just a quick exercise, which is the thought one. Yeah, so it's easier said than done, trying to release the thoughts, you know, that we were talking about before. Yeah. But what I use this all the time. Imagine yourself on a bench. You can close your eyes. I would definitely recommend that. Close your eyes and now imagine yourself on a bench waiting for the bus or a train. So you can kind of imagine maybe a bus stop that you're used to, that you can picture. You can make up your perfect bus stop. Now, every thought you have is a bus coming through. Whenever you engage with that thought, so for me, it's like, oh, I need to drive, you know, home right now, and how are the roads are going to be. I just let that go. I get out of the bus. I go back to the bus stop. I sit myself on the bench. The next thought comes through. Oh, it's whatever it is, email that I didn't answer. And then I started thinking about what I'm going to write on that email. I let that go. I get out of the bus. I sit myself on the bus stop again. So you just do that over and over again. And the simple action of doing that is going to slowly decrease the amount of thoughts and the amount of buses that you engage with. That's really the key thing about trying to manage the thoughts and how they affect you, is to not engage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, you can do that for as little as 30 seconds and as long as an hour.
And you say like start slower.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then work yourself up.
And be gentle with yourself. You can have a million buses, and all of a sudden you see yourself in that bus, and you've been in that bus for 5 minutes thinking about the email that you need to send and what's going to happen after that email and who's going to reply to that email and how they're going to end it because they don't like you and how they're going to say and how you're going to reply. You know that we all have this stuff, right?
Yes. Yes. It's our
So-
inner saboteur. Yeah.
Yeah. And don't judge yourself. You were in the bus. That's all that happened. You get off the bus, you go back to your bus stop.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Bianca. That was all amazing, great knowledge to take with us. And I hope everybody has a little bit of what to do now when they're anxious at the clinic waiting. Before we go, for anyone who wants to learn more, where can we find you, Bianca?
Yeah, so the best really is my Instagram account. So MyFertilityJourney.ca. My Fertility Journey on all the podcast apps is there too. It is not current, but there's a lot of very good interviews there from experts and from people in the journey. And most of the people that I have interviewed are people that were in the thick of it. Because as when I started my podcast, that's what I felt was lacking. So if you are in the thick of it and maybe you're a little bit tired of hearing stories of people that have had their babies and they're super happy and they wrote a book about it or they whatever about it, then some of those stories are really nice to hear because people were like really in that thick of it and sharing. So you feel less alone. So that's what I would say. But if you want to chat, definitely DM me on Instagram, MyFertilityJourney.ca.
Thank you so much, Bianca. And to everyone watching, we appreciate you being here. If you found this helpful, please share this episode, tag a friend who might need it, and join us for the next Fertility Live.
And don't forget Oasis. We have monthly free support groups that you can join. There's also an Oasis podcast. An episode just went out today for Tammy's story, or yesterday rather. We have Fertility coming up in June. Tickets are already on sale for that. We hope to see everyone there. It's going to be very fancy and beautiful, and we get to wear fascinators and we get to have high tea. So that is all great stuff. Keep engaging. Send us messages if there's things that you want to see. We're always listening. We really, really want to hear from you. And don't forget, wherever you are with Fertility Village or with Oasis, both, you are never alone. So thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Bianca. We are so happy that you came and that you shared your story and shared your knowledge and gave us all so many tools to help us throughout our journey.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. Take care, everyone.